Hello, welcome to Football Journeys, a B5 Consultancy podcast presented by me, Matt Himsworth.
And me, Fraser Franks. Football Journeys is a podcast that ignores the glitz and the glamour of the beautiful game in favour of the pain, the graft and the rejection.
For my part, I've been a media lawyer for nearly 20 years now, and I work with clubs and I work with players to help protect their reputation, their privacy, but ultimately it's about protecting the well-being of the young men and women that go through that journey through the game that we love.
And for me, I've been through that journey. I was an academy player at Chelsea and Brentford before setting on a career in the lower leagues with the likes of Fleetwood Town, Stevenage and Newport County, before my career ended at the age of 28 owing to a heart defect.
B5 Consultancy is about combining that experience to help players young and old to make good decisions off the pitch, but also to be there to support players when life doesn't go according to plan.
In this series, we're talking to Liverpool FC's class of 2013-14. Those lads that came through that famous academy at Kirby but didn't quite make it through to realise their Anfield dream.
This is Football Journeys. This week at the Hope Street Hotel, we met the boy wonder, Jordan Rossiter. At the age of 15, he was captain in his country and labelled the next Steven Gerrard by no less than Robbie Fowler. The comparison perhaps didn't help and didn't reflect the game of a lad who would later be called by Bury fans the Scouse Conte. A first-team player at Liverpool by the age of 17, but injuries hampered his progress, both at Liverpool and after a move to Scottish giants Rangers. But he is now on his way back after linking up with fellow Scouser Joey Barton at Fleetwood Town. Jordan, thanks for joining us. How are you?
Good to be here, yeah. Looking forward to get speaking.
Jordan Bernard Rossiter. 24th of March 1997. You won't forgive me for the name.
Yeah, not many people know.
To blame.
Yeah, not many people know that. Keep that on the low.
One question we ask all the boys, and we know the answer to this, and this is quite fun because we know your answer. Red or blue?
I'm a blue. Unfortunately, at the minute, I'm a blue, but yeah, I'm an Everton supporter. Yeah.
And does that mean you're a blue by family traits? Mum, dad, brothers, sisters?
Yeah, it's hard to say, my family. My own, obviously, my mum, my dad, my sister were all Evertonians, but the rest of my family are Liverpoolians, but obviously it just follows who my dad supported.
It's difficult to try and take you back before you joined Liverpool as an Evertonian, because there's almost no time before you were at Liverpool. You trained at Kirby from the age of 6. You know, you haven't got time to form your own mind at that stage. So although Dad supports the Blues and you do, and probably still do while you're playing for Liverpool, why? And when I say why did you sign for Liverpool, it's probably a question for your dad. Why did your dad decide that red was the colour for you, at least in terms of how you play?
I think my dad just wanted me to have the best, whatever I enjoyed doing, that he wanted me to do. Obviously, I went to Everton at the age of 7, 8, but I didn't enjoy it. I enjoyed it at Liverpool, and probably killed my dad a little bit that obviously, I was wearing that Liverpool shirt from a young age. But no, he said, I think he just wanted, me to just develop as a footballer, and at the time, Kirby was the best place for me to do that. So, but I thank him for it, because maybe if I went to Everton, things could have been different. But I say, he went to Liverpool, and I'm glad I did at the age.
We'll keep embarrassing you by talking to your mercurial ability from an early age, but every lad has mentioned it. How much did you feel that you were the best player in your age group?
Obviously in the back of my head, I kind of knew a little bit, just plainly because I was always playing up a level, and starting them games, and I always used to feel like comfortable in that. But I don't want to sound like I'm not trying to not be big-headed here or nothing, but I didn't even come to my head to say. I just enjoyed it that much, and I just wanted to play well every single game, wherever that was. Then that never really come into me, and I just never, obviously my dad would never let me, mum, my dad, my family would never let me get ahead of myself type of thing, and always kept me grounded. And I think obviously to this day it's stood me in good still, and I'd probably say I never really thought into that too much. Might be sitting on the fence a little bit, but I think that's generally.
Another thing that comes through is a lot of the Scouse lads that we have spoken to and we are speaking to, the support systems and the families and the parents and their brothers, sisters, the friends from school, they all seem to keep the lads grounded.
Yeah.
It isn't always the case, and you do get some academy players that get carried away with themselves and start to believe they're in hype at an early age when they've not achieved anything yet really. But some of the Scouse lads that we've spoken to, particularly, are very humble and come from humble backgrounds. Has your family played a big part in not letting you get carried away? Because, as you say, you were this, you're probably one of the best players in the country at your age at that point. So, were they keeping you, were they keeping your feet on the ground?
Yeah, definitely. As I said, obviously, sometimes I used to get in the car and like obviously on a Sunday morning and say to me, Dad, how do you think I played there? And he'd be like, he always used to give me like markings out of 10. That's how he used to be like, he's a 5 out of 10 there. Even if it was maybe a 7 or 8, you know what I mean? I used to be, I need to do better next week then, or, do you know, that type of thing. But as I said, I think all of our families, it's not tough. Obviously, the lads are going, obviously, Monday to Friday overnight from 5:30 till 7:30. And obviously, like, my dad's, sure it's the same with a lot of families. Like, my dad was finishing work at 5, he'll rush home. I lived obviously near the ground, so Kirby is about 20-25 minutes. He'll rush me up there, he'll be with me for 2.5, 3 hours there, and then he'll take me home. So I think a lot of our parents, they were all brilliant, because obviously it's tough on them, do you know what I mean? Like, it's like an extra job on top of the job they're already doing. So obviously everybody's got a lot to thank them for, and I think they're probably like the people what kind of go unseen in the academy.
Well, as Fraser said, at that time, and I've got an image of you aged 15 in front of me, you were one of the best players in the country for your age. You captained your country, and this picture I have in front of me is you winning the Victory Shield.
Yeah.
Even the fact that these lads are 15, I can recognise a few of them. I can see Joe Gomez there, I can see Patrick Roberts. I think that's Freddie Woodman.
Yeah,
goal.
would be, yeah.
I don't think he made that squad actually, but United had Dean Henderson, Marcus Rashford.
Yeah.
Not good enough for that team. Your captain in there.
Yeah.
Was there an element of you were taking your life for granted at that stage? You're the best young midfield player at the time, or were you pinching yourself and saying, "Is this real?"
I wouldn't say I was taking it for granted, but it's just all I knew. Do you know what I mean? Like I say, I knew I was going to be involved with England, and obviously I didn't know I was going to be captain, but obviously the captain was unbelievable, and being captain at that age group, obviously some of the players. I think Marcus Rashford was actually the first ever Victory Shield game away at Northern Ireland. He was my roommate, Marcus Rashford. Yeah, so I would say, so it was a fantastic group of players, and at that age, we're all just kids. We're playing for our country. It was like the first game we played. It was on Sky Sports, all the games. It was televised, the Victory Shield, and so we were just enjoying it. We obviously knew we were lucky to be there, but I wouldn't say we were taking it for granted or not. I look back now and obviously I'm immensely proud. Do you know what I mean?
So age 15, you play for Liverpool under-19s, which is massive. To be 15 and play for Liverpool under-19s is massive. It's a UEFA Youth League game against Inter Milan, which is big on itself. And then, with incredibly good intentions, no doubt, Robbie Fowler is watching the game. He's always taken an interest in Liverpool youth games, which is a credit to him. And he says this, I'll read it out to you. A young lad just about to come on for a few minutes for Liverpool Next Gen. So he's been watching you.
Yeah.
This isn't him watching you and then saying it after you come on. Jordan Rossiter, big shout, but potentially a young Stevie G.
Yeah.
When did you hear that he tweeted that?
No, I think it was just after the game, obviously. So obviously I had the shower and all that. Obviously just buzzing to be involved. I think I only got like 5 minutes, but she was 15 playing, and like I think like Conor Cody and I made to play, and they would always seem so older than me. Obviously I was playing with like 19, 20-year-old, so just buzzing to be involved. Obviously at the time, St Helens, it was a big stadium and all that. It was a great setup in front of fans, so I was just buzzing, and then just looked, obviously went home, obviously sorry not gone home, got on my shower, sat down, obviously getting changed, and look at my phone, and just like my phone was getting all like my phone was blowing up, and I was like, I don't normally get this, you know what I mean? So no one obviously then I seen all the replies, and it was just like, obviously I was made up for him to say something like that, you know what I mean? But obviously a legend like that at the time, I was like, I was made up. I said, Robbie Fowler thinks it's great, you know what I mean? He's a god around here, isn't he? That's how everyone sees him. So for him to obviously even compare me or have me in the same sentence as someone obviously like Steven Gerrard, if I had 20% of the career he's had, or 10%, I would have had a good football career, you know what I mean? So at the time, I was buzzing, to be honest with you.
Without even realising it though, he does, for all good intentions and things, he does bring you into the limelight a little bit, and it probably makes you stand out a little bit from the youth team. You see the tweet, and it's a great compliment for someone like him. And then you move on, but it's like in England, as soon as a young kid steps on the scene, like the media, everyone's interested, social media now, and it separates you from probably the rest of your teammates at Liverpool.
Yeah, no, definitely. I said it's more. I think everybody in the club knew I weren't of the mould of a Steven Gerrard, you know what I mean? I think everyone had that idea that I was a totally different player. Obviously, I could have developed into the attacking midfielder or around midfielder, but at the time I weren't that player. But no, it definitely, obviously, the outside looking in, everybody is obviously heightened me, do you know what I mean? Obviously, as you said, my name was out there more and things like that, but I can't honestly say, I just never ever got carried away with it or anything like that. Obviously, people say, oh, good the way he said that, and I was like, oh yeah, say it was nice of him, do you know what I mean? For me, it didn't change nothing.
How difficult it must have been for Jordan not to get carried away is explained by John Gibbons of the Anfield Rap, who told us about how excitement over the young prospect picked up pace.
The problem is, it's not just a tweet, it then becomes a news story, and then, you know, people can build whole articles around the tweet, can't they? And suddenly it's, you know, it's not just in the local papers, but it might be in the Mirror or something as well. You know, Fowler, it just needs a headline. Fowler tips the new Gerrard, or Fowler, you know, and you're clicking on it, you want to read it, don't you? And we're all sort of guilty of it, really. But no, remember that well, because it did sort of become a big story. But he just seemed to have a lot about him, Rossiter. And, you know, he was always sort of fairly slight, but the way he sort of ran games and the way he sort of carried himself and the way, you know, he was, you know, he might have been slight, but he just sort of seemed older within himself and how he played. You know, you couldn't sort of help get a bit excited about him, really. So I can understand why Robbie did sort of jump the gun a little bit, because he was impressive.
We also took time to chat to one of Jordan's older teammates on that UEFA Youth League night, Connor Cody. Now a full England international and captain of Wolves, Connor was an established 19-year-old captain in the Young Reds that night, and he remembered the 15-year-old's talent.
I always remember he got put in one of the squads, and we were all a bit like, wow, this kid's like young, do you know what I mean? Proper young to be with us, and we weren't anything near the first team at the time, but it was a big competition that we were playing at the time. I'll always remember it, and I think he come on in the game and he looked mature. Do you know what I mean? You know, when someone comes on and he looked mature, and don't get me wrong, he wasn't built, he wasn't big, but he just looked mature. He looked like, I can play. Do you know what I mean? He looked confident. He looked sure about his own ability, and he wanted the ball. Mate, honestly, I remember it was at St Helens as well, the St Helens rugby ground where we were playing our games. And then, obviously, from then I didn't play too much then with him after it. He was involved with us for quite a little bit in terms of our age group, in terms of training and different things. But in terms of the game, I didn't have that much to do with him after it. And then I always followed his career when I left, just because he was so young when he played with us at the time. Like you said, he was, 15? And we were 19 at the time. It was a crazy jump, to be honest with you.
The path continues towards the first team. So 15, you're playing at 19s. By 17, December 2013, you're on the bench at Stamford Bridge.
Yeah.
Tell us about, so there's Brendan Rodgers in charge at that time.
Yeah.
Tell us about finding out you're going down to Stamford Bridge to sit on the bench for Liverpool Football Club.
Yeah, no, I was training with them quite a lot, to be honest with you, around that time. They had quite a lot of injuries, so there was a few midfielders out, and so I was training with them for a good few weeks before it, and obviously, what day was that before Christmas, weren't it?
It was 29th of December.
29th, yeah, so obviously all young lads, I was obviously only 16, so at the time, obviously, all young lads got obviously Christmas off, so I'm thinking, I'll have Christmas off, and then next thing you know, I'm in Christmas Day, and I was like, it's mad, there's never in Christmas Day and training. Obviously, I didn't understand it at that age.
You were in that age where you should be tearing presents open and getting excited.
No, I was like, yeah, no, it's mad. And then I think I travelled with the squad to somewhere, I don't know where we played, but we stayed over Christmas night, travelled with the squad. Can't remember who we played, but didn't make the bench, and then I think someone got injured that game or got a niggle or weren't fit. And then obviously, I remember going down to Chelsea, travelling down to Chelsea, and then I remember being in the team meeting and just getting a little nudge off Martin Kells, and he was like, "You'll be on the bench here." And I was like, "Oh, yeah, all right, lad, no chance." And he was like, "No, you'll be on the bench." So ball goes up, and obviously, my name at the bottom, Rossiter 46, I'm like substitute bench, and I was just like crazy, you know what I mean? It was just, what a feeling that was, you know, especially at a big game, it went like a Capital One Cup game or like an FA Cup game against Stamford Bridge away. It was an unbelievable experience.
Socially, it's you know, you're 15 and you're playing for the under-19, so stepping up at that age, you know, 1 year above is a massive difference at that age. For you to mix in a changing room with 19-year-olds is quite a big deal, and it could be daunting. For you then to be a 16-year-old and be mixing with, you know, players that are 30, 35.
Yeah.
Is that was it a daunting experience at all?
Yeah, a little bit. Like obviously you'll know yourself maybe when you're getting on like team coaches, and obviously everybody has the seats and like that, and I'm like looking thinking, oh, can't sit in someone's seat here, do you know what I mean? One of the big hitters and like, and then get told to move, so just like waiting and all that to see like where everyone's sitting, and then see a little empty space, go and run to it, sit in it, so little things like that. I remember actually before the Chelsea game, and we were in the changing rooms before it, and obviously at the time, remember the ankle protectors, the shin pads, obviously I was still wearing them at the time. Obviously they were long gone by then, but I was still wearing them. I remember Raheem Sterling, he came up to me and was like, bloody hell, they're like cricket bats, they're like cricket shin guards. He said the size of them, and I was like, oh, they were all good, to be fair though, like I say, they give me a bit of stick, but they were all good in that sense. Obviously they got me involved.
Who were the senior pros that sort of welcomed you in, that you remember?
I think at that time, I think like Henderson was really good. Coutinho was always good with me. Lucas Leiva was fantastic. He was really good. Skirtle. On that trip, and obviously like Gerrard and that, obviously they were brilliant with me as well. But no, I couldn't fault any of them. They were all absolutely brilliant with me.
Jordan's opportunity finally came with a League Cup tie against Middlesbrough, with manager Brendan Rodgers selecting Jordan in a strong starting 11.
Obviously I'd never ever thought in a million years that I was obviously going to play, but obviously to get the nod that game, it was.
And when did you find out?
So I found out the day before in the team meeting. So obviously I was struggling at the time with a bit of a groin injury, like a bit niggly, and I weren't going too good. I was in and out of training sessions, and I weren't fully fit, to be honest with you. And then the day before, physio got me in early, like as I say he would, and he was like, listen, like obviously training with the first team, I've actually to go down and train later. And I just thought, oh, must just need numbers. Or he was like, it's up to you. And I was like, well, listen, first team asking me to train, I'm not going to say no over a bit of a tight groin type of thing. So he was like, well, listen, it's up to you, gauge it. Obviously, it's just the day before the game session, which you know yourself, it's never too tough, do you know what I mean? So he said, you should be fine, get through it. So obviously I was in from early with the physio. As you're injured, you get in early, 8:30. But they weren't training until the night, because obviously the Middlesbrough game was the following night. So I was in all that day, and obviously made me way to Anfield where we were training. And it was a roasting hot day, I always remember. It was a really hot day, and obviously we were in a team meeting. It was about 6 o'clock, and been up since 6, half 6, you know what I mean? Obviously being a physio, and then obviously meeting goes up and all that, and he says, oh, Jose Enrique, Sacho, Colo Torre, Manquillo, Lucas Leiva, and Rossiter. And I was just half like, just not enough, but just losing concentration where it was a hot room, and I just didn't in a million years think I was going to play. And then Rossiter, and I was like, thought I was like in a bit of a like, thought, what's going on here? Like, it's a bit of a dream. And then obviously go on the pitch, and I'm in like the shape and all that, and I've got a tight groin, and I'm worrying, and I'm like, oh, what do we do here? But thankfully I never said nothing about the tight groin, you know what I mean, in the end. But
was it being a starter for Liverpool, playing in a team where there weren't many young lads playing?
Well, shall I read it out? We've got Mignolet in goal, Manquillo, Torre, Sacco, Enrique. Midfield, Leiva, Lallana, Rossiter. And then up front, you've got Sterling, it's obviously a young Raheem Sterling, but a very good one. Markovic and Ricky Lambert, very experienced scout striker. You're the only kid there, and the only other kid is Jordan Williams, who replaces you as a substitute on the 79th minute.
Yeah, no, I said that's obviously what I went back to earlier. Obviously, Brendan Rodgers obviously giving me the platform to go and play. Like, obviously, some people make the debuts when it's like a Capital One Cup game, but the gaffer would make 7 or 8 or 9 changes. Do you know what I mean? But that wasn't enough full strength at the time, obviously, for what they were doing. Do you know what I mean? So it was just surreal to be put in with them players, and I think it helped me massively. Do you know what I mean? Obviously, having that experience next to me, and it gave me the platform to go and obviously show what I can do. And fortunately, I scuffed one in early doors, which settled me down.
One thing we haven't mentioned, and those that are not familiar with the game, is the goalkeeper, a young goalkeeper, I think was on loan from Chelsea, Jamal Blackman, made a fumble, ball comes out to you, you're a long way out, and I think if you'd have hit it true, it might have gone over the bar, but you, as you say, I think you hit it all right.
After the initial clearance, and Jordan Rossiter has scored on his debut. What a fantastic moment for a 17-year-old with his first shot in a Liverpool shirt. He's only gone and scored.
When it was coming to me, I remember, I think it was Lambert had the shot, and then it rebounded me, and it's coming to me, and I always remember it was Grant Ledbetter was like alongside me, and I thought, if I can make it here before him, I was thinking, he's off his line, so I thought I'm gonna lob it over him type of thing, I'm gonna chip him, and then it just So I hit it wrong and I went along the floor, but caught the keeper off guard, and thankfully it went in.
And I looked in it, you know, your name goes, you go from being a young player at Liverpool to making your debut to within the space of, you know, a game, you're in the history books, because that makes you the Liverpool's second youngest ever goal scorer, just behind Michael Owen. So what was, how did that feel, and how did the celebrations feel? Do you remember, was it a blur after you scored? Do you remember how you celebrated, things like that?
I just remember just running off and jumping as high as I think I've ever jumped, to be honest with you, and obviously everyone come round me and things like that, and I always remember pointing up to my family, and that's it, to be honest with you. I don't remember much on the night, to say. It's all a bit surreal looking back at it now.
I mean, did you feel that at the time that the first team, they were, you know, when lads came through, they appreciated how important it was for you boys and wanted to help and support and nurture you? Yeah,
100%. I think because they've been in that position, do you know what I mean? Everybody's been being a young lad, 16, 17, 18, trying to, you know, obviously get through. Obviously, I don't know about you, Fraser, but it might have been a bit different in your, obviously coming through, it might have been a bit tougher. Obviously, the lads are a bit more tougher on you and things like that, but obviously I think the game's obviously changed, and the modern day football, I don't think it can be like that. So,
do you think as well, though, from us getting to know you, from me speaking to, I know a couple of coaches that you played for, I know the director of football at Fleetwood, everyone we speak to has only got good things to say about you as a person.
Yeah.
If a first team player's seeing that, and they're seeing you're a good kid, you work hard, and coaches are seeing that, how important do you think that is? And, you know, it does make it easier for you to settle in, and people want you to do well because you know, you've got the talent, but you're also a good kid and you're humble. Do you think that massively worked in your favour with these players and coaches?
Yeah, I'd say 100%. As I said, I think obviously me being obviously like a young lad coming through, I think it's just about working hard, you know what I mean? I think obviously you're playing with the likes of training, with the likes of Suarez, Raheem Sterling, like Gerrard, like you're not going to be at their level, but I think first team players at the time, and obviously still the case now, it's alright if you make a mistake, you're young and you're learning, but it's if you don't work hard, or you're not a good kid, or you're a bit cocky, or you think you're getting ahead of yourself, I think that's where they kind of say, like, you know what I mean, like, so you go, fuck you type of thing, do you know what I mean? That's what they want to say type of thing, say he's not going to do well. It's when you see good kids who are trying and they're doing extras after training, that's where they think, you know what, like, I'd be happy for him if he does well, or I want him to do well. I think that's part and parcel of it.
You can see it in the celebrations, and you can probably see it in the crowd. I think you know, all Liverpool fans want one of their own to come through.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
You know, it's a Capital One Cup game against Middlesbrough, but when you listen to it back and the roar of it, and you see the emotion on players, coaches, and fans, like, it sounds like a Champions League game. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
So you can see how happy everyone is for you, and you know, you've had your dad and your mum driving you from the age of 6 up to Liverpool, and then. Do you manage to spot them in the crowd at Anfield? I know you said you
I kind of knew the area they would be in, to be honest with you. Yeah. I think my dad was waving his Betty slip. Thinking, get in there first there.
Because I remember, I think my first involvement in a squad, my mates went and put a couple of quid on me to get a goal, and didn't end up winning a penny, but you had the same sort of thing.
Yeah, I think everyone does it, don't they? Especially when you're starting, you think, oh, well, put a little £5 or £10 on you to be obviously first goal scorer, because obviously you'll be a higher price anyway, because you're not expected to play. So I was like, put a little bet on it, and a few people won a few quid that night, so I think they were happy.
Someone else who was happy for Jordan that night was Conor Cody, a Liverpool Academy graduate who by then was plying his trade in the Championship with Huddersfield Town.
I remember the goal he scored against Middlesbrough in the cup, which I'm sure you'll talk about, and the happiness that goes through you. I think for every player that's been there as a kid and then comes away, when you see someone do well, it's incredible. Alexander-Arnold now, all these sorts of players who come in and do that well, it's incredible, and he was no different. And I remember watching the game when he scored, I was on my feet, and it was brilliant just to see a local lad. And like I said, I played with him when he was 15, which was scary to think back, but you see him come on, and honestly, he was a brilliant talent. And I think to describe a Liverpool player at the time, it was Jordan Rossiter. Most professionals will tell you the same thing. They're happy when people who you know, and especially young lads who come through, like you said, he was 17. It's remarkable. Played for Liverpool when you're 17, it's absolutely incredible, and no one could ever take that away from him. Do you know what I mean? He played for Liverpool, he scored for Liverpool. It was incredible.
It's an unbelievable achievement. I mean, one person that thought that at the time, who started and had a long time at Liverpool, slightly longer than you, Jamie Carragher. This is what he tweeted. You wonder why your phone blew up. Not only did he at you in it, he says, not celebrated as passionately since Dudek saved that pen. I mean, how profound is that? Absolutely delighted for @Jordan_Rossiter, which doesn't exist anymore, and his family and friends watching. That must feel nice, because he's not only said he's delighted that a kid has scored, but there's, he alludes to the fact that you're a good kid from a good family.
Yeah. No, I say he's a legend, Carragher, you know what I mean? Carragher, he's absolutely brilliant. I mean, I know he still goes and trains in like a local gym, not far from Everton Valley here, the Rotunda, and obviously I know a lot of like my friends she see him day in, day out, and say no one's ever got a bad word to say about him, as said, and for someone like that, obviously to say that, is obviously with the Dudek thing and all that, it was, I always remember that tweet, that's the one that always sticks out, and I always take a lot of pride from that one, and said for someone like him, he was another one who was brilliant with me, and he's just a proper local lad as well, as said, he's obviously just from down the road as well, he grew up down the road in Bootle. And yeah, he's someone who I looked up to when I was young, definitely one of the Liverpool players.
We spoke to Jamie about why he had such a high opinion of Jordan during his time at Liverpool.
I think the Gerrard comparison was a lot of like, he looked like him a little bit, didn't he? He had the skinhead when he first started. I think, the same position. I mean, he's the one who had that personality and I liked when he first came. And I thought he had a real chance, Jordan, not because of his ability, he was a good player, but he had that thing of, give me the ball. That's the big thing I'm talking about, when I'm talking about personality, when you come down to train, it's making sure you have an impact on training. Make sure it was Roy Evans for me, but make sure Brendan Rodgers, if it was for Rossiter, make sure he notices you in the training. So it doesn't mean you have a great training session, you could give the ball away, but make sure you're on the ball, make sure you're getting the ball, make sure you're loud. Sometimes people just sort of let that opportunity drift because of a week's training. Make sure you're noticed. And Jordan I always noticed him. I thought he had something about him. He just wanted the ball. He was he wasn't scared of putting a challenge in on a first team player, little things like that. I certainly felt Jordan had the ability and the personality to do a lot more at Liverpool than he did, shall we say.
One of the other things that was said that night was the co-commentator, when the goal was scored, he's analysing the goal, he talks about Blackman's mistake. And then he says something which I think is quite profound. He said, young Jordan Rossiter, something along the lines of what a moment for him. Yeah. Will he ever have a moment in his career as big as this? I'm going to ask you a really cruel question. What's the answer to that at the moment?
Will I ever have a better feeling or a bigger moment? Cause
you answer how you want to answer it, mate.
Even being honest, it was I look back and now, obviously I got promoted with Berry, look back on that with more pride than the Liverpool goal, and I don't know why. I just think because I was a part of something, and it was just that day night. It was just a freak night. You know what I mean? Said I've often just go from 30, to see young lads coming into a team, making a debut at 17 and scoring a 35-yard goal. Do you know what I mean? So I probably say I've had probably the biggest moments in terms of setting me up for my career, but probably say I've had a few sweeter moments, even being honest. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I was Fraser's nod away. That's a first-class answer. Absolutely first-class answer. So, I mean, your career was going from strength to strength at that stage. And actually, I'm going to put you a quote for, when we've been researching this, we've chatted to all of you boys, and it's not the first time we've met. And when we had our first chat to Sergi Canos, Sergi said to us something I really liked. He said, to make it in football, you need to be good, you need to work hard, and you need to be lucky. So your career was going very well. Yeah. And then you started to get unlucky. Yeah. And so I'll take you to the start of the negativity and where some of your injuries came in. So you were playing an FA Youth Cup against Birmingham, and you picked up, this was an ankle injury.
Ankle, yeah.
Was that one of your first big injuries?
Yeah, I would say that would be me first massive injury, even being honest, obviously I just remember going, I think it was in like extra time or something, and we were draw, we were getting beaten. I just went off for like a stupid header with the keeper. I was never going to win, but it was just maybe a bit of frustration. Just remember coming down and my ankle just landed on my right foot, ankle went underneath me, and I was like, oof, what's that type of thing? Tried to like jog it off, and then just could see my ankles just blew up, and obviously got the scan and all that, and it was she had to get surgery. My ankle was ATFL reconstruction, which obviously I think that was in like the January or the February that game, and obviously that just sort the rest of my season off then type of thing, yeah. So that was that was a tough moment because at the time I was flying, but then
it's your first real setback in your whole
yeah.
career. Because you're going, you know, you've not really had a rejection or many. It's all been
everything's
an upward curve.
Upward curve, yeah. Same.
How did you deal with your first setback and probably your first time in your career where you're not playing and you're not involved?
I always remember speaking to a fitness coach at Liverpool. His name's Connell. I think he's working actually with the first team now, and he was working at the academy at the time. And he said, "It's 12 weeks. Look at you." He was just like, "Look at your body shape. Like you're skinny. Obviously, you're doing well and all that. But how can you make yourself better?" And he was like, "Get yourself in the gym, put a bit of muscle on, do you know what I mean? Like, make it worthwhile," and that's what I've done, to be honest with you. I just got myself in the gym, and for 12 weeks, obviously, it was just non-stop, just wanting to improve my upper body, my core, and then obviously I had a chance to work on my leg strength, which obviously, you know, when you're playing that many games, and I've never missed a game, you don't have a chance to do upper bodies or core work, so I just really focused in on that, zoned in on that. And
you still see, seeing the positive in a bad situation.
Yeah, definitely. I say that's the thing. I say it was the first setback. I was still young. I knew I was always wearing a touch, but obviously I don't know if anyone else has had that injury. But for me, I knew it wasn't going to be a career-threatening injury. I was in good hands with the physios at Liverpool, and obviously the surgeon and all that was, you know, Liverpool, they send you to the best of everything. Do you know what I mean? So I was fortunate. I got sorted that, and so 12 weeks is just saw me out to the net. I had in my mind, this season's gone now, I need to prepare for pre-season, and that's what I've done, to be honest with you.
And in the early stages of the following season, I mean, that worked for you. You're in and around Melwood. You make your league debut early in the season. You come on for Lucas Laver, I know you're very fond of, and rightly so. He's a good professional and really helped you out as a young player. You then make your European debut. Bordeaux away. And then we talk about luck. I think there's two elements of luck that come in football that really stand out: injuries and then changes of manager. Yeah. So Brendan was a Jordan Rossiter fan. Yeah. And I'm not saying that Jurgen wasn't. Oh yeah. Brendan left, and when did you? I mean, there's the famous meme on social media of Jamie Carragher sort of putting his hand on Thierry Henry's knee. He was shocked and alarmed. Yeah. You must have felt like that.
I think I done the same thing, to be honest, when I was in a car with someone. But no, I say obviously you're talking about the luck, obviously change of manager and the luckiness of injury. Well, funnily enough, like you say that, because in them 2 weeks, obviously Rodgers obviously got the.
I've got my dates here.
Yeah, obviously left Liverpool. After the Everton game, I was on the bench that game, and then we were travelling to, after that game at the international break, so obviously it was a 2-week break from Liverpool, the league games, and I was travelling to under-19s European qualifier. So obviously I got the news in the car on the way home, on the way to the international duty show would have been Sunday night. I was driving to St George's Park, and just remember seeing my phone, and I was like just seeing him 2 hours ago, and he was like, have a good look on your international duty type of thing, I'll see his wings are back type of thing. So it was obviously everyone was shocked at the time, and I was really shocked. And obviously I didn't think about who was coming in or wonder who will come in or anything like that, because obviously I had a job to be involved in England. I was just looking forward to being involved in European qualifiers. So I said so that didn't really come to me too much.
You then go away with England. You play 3 games in 5 days, and anyone can find this clip on YouTube. The first thing that Jurgen Klopp thinks about Jordan Rossiter is he's angry, not with you. He's angry with the FA because you came back injured from that. Yeah.
These young players are our future. If we handle them like horses, we got horses.
Did you feel like a horse?
No, same. I think I was limping at the time with my hamstring. It was hanging off, but no, as I said, obviously I know when I first obviously got the job, and obviously I know I was going back and I was going to be injured, which I was going to miss a chunk of him getting to know all the players and seeing what everyone's about. So I missed out on the first 6 weeks of that. But as I said, I think he was just coming in, and obviously he mightn't have been happy with the situation, but said I didn't have one problem playing 3 games in 5 days, you know what I mean? Like A.T. Boothroyd, who was the manager at the time, was brilliant with me, and he's someone who I've learned so much off, do you know what I mean? So I said, I spoke to them, and I was like I've got no problem with what happened. They say injuries happen type of thing. Obviously, I know I played 3 games in 6 days, or 5 days, sorry, but I played full 90 minutes and everyone, and felt great. It just, at the end, obviously when I come back, my hamstring was tight and there was a bit of a tear in there, so I said I didn't have no bad blood towards no FA or I was saying about me being a horse, or I didn't feel like a horse
anyway.
anyway.
You a bit of a chance. You played one substitute appearance away at Sion. I don't know whether you regard that as a chance. I mean, you didn't get much on the pitch, but I mean, how was your relationship with Jurgen? Do you feel as though you were given a fair crack at the whip?
Well, to be honest with you, after that game, in that game, I pulled my other hamstring, so as I said, and then that was me then for 12 weeks, so it was a grade 3, but it was my other leg, and it was just weren't great. It didn't feel great. It didn't feel great before the game, but I was like, I'm only on the bench, I probably won't even come on, and then I come on, and then I pull it, and that's probably maybe one of the one times where, maybe even before the trip, obviously, just to pull out, do you know what I mean? Like, my hamstring's tight, but I just never had that attitude, and it probably will be my downfall, or it was my downfall at the time, and people have always said to me, like, I'm always wanting to do things and wanting to be in the gym, or be on a pitch, work on extras, or doing this or doing that, where sometimes it's better just to do less, do you know what I mean, and you'll perform better type of thing, but that's just the way of being brought up, to always work hard, and I think in that time it maybe went against me a little bit, because obviously I missed another 12 weeks then, and then so I think that took me to like February, and then obviously I'm getting back fit, and then it's March then, and then I'm coming to the end of my contract, and he's watching me, but he's not going to play me because I'm miles off fitness wise in terms of matches, so, and they kind of all just petered out then type of thing, so no, I wouldn't say he never gave me a fair crack at the whip. I just don't think I was there to have a fair crack at the whip. I weren't there in myself, do you know what I mean?
Do you remember having conversations and still feeling part of the team, or did you feel you were a little bit to the side because you were injured?
Yeah, obviously, being honest, obviously a bit to the side, but I think that's just, at a club like Liverpool, that's normal to feel like that. There's that many players there and that many staff. Like, I had my job to get back fit. They had their job to go to the away games, to go to their own games, get points. You know, everyone's jobs was different, do you know what I mean? So I definitely still felt part of it, but definitely not as much as what you would be if you was involved.
So you get to the summer, your contract's up. So what was the situation? Did you receive a contract offer?
Yes, so obviously it was coming to the end of me time at Liverpool, and I was obviously thinking, I love to sign for Liverpool again type of thing, but obviously they offered the contract, Liverpool offered the contract, and I was like, spoke to obviously my agent, Bradley Orr, obviously I think you know Fraser, and we were just speaking, and just like, I don't think I'm not going to play it, am I? Like, obviously at the time, I just didn't think I was good enough to play there week in, week out, which is what I wanted, do you know what I mean? Like, obviously I had my few injuries, like I just wanted to go and play Saturday, every Saturday, just go and earn the right to play and play in front of fans, and you know what I mean, fight for stuff what's like important and things like that, where I don't think I could have done when I was on the bench, or maybe in the 18-man squad or the 20-man squad, and just missing out on certain games. And you know what I mean, we had like Jordan Henderson, Philip Coutinho, Lucas Leiva, like James Milner come in. Like, I was thinking to myself, I'm not at the level where I should be even thinking about, I should start ahead of James Milner. Like, I just weren't at the level, so I knew I had to go out and prove myself. And when the Rangers thing come about, it was just,
it is a bold thing to do as an 18-year-old at the time. 19?
So I would have been 19 when we contacted out, yeah.
And you know, a lot of lads that we've spoken to, it's a tough thing to do, to turn down a contract at that age, and you know, a lot of these lads have probably stayed at clubs and in under 23 systems too long, and get to the age of 22, 23, and haven't got this first team experience. What was the conversation like? Do you remember? Was Jurgen involved in it? Do you remember saying, you know, what was Liverpool's reaction to you know, wanting to leave and play football week in, week out?
Yes, I think they were obviously. Obviously the contract offer was maybe obviously they offered the contract, but I think either way, if I wanted to go and play, like I don't think if I said obviously turned it down, was like, no, I don't want it, like they would say, well, go ahead type of thing. Like, it was one of them, like I could have stayed and signed the contract, but I don't think they were too bothered I was leaving, and I was fine with that because I knew I weren't at the level. And
felt, because you know, the 16, 17-year-old that's at Millwood every week and is playing and is comfortable in and around the first team, all of a sudden you don't feel good enough to be there. Is that because, you know?
I think that's just every manager has a different opinion on a player. No matter, say if you put one player and then two managers in front, and they say have an opinion on a player, it's going to be different, do you know what I mean? And I just don't think I suited to what Jurgen Klopp wanted to do, but I do think my injuries definitely never helped that I couldn't show me full potential to him. So he maybe never seen the best, like Jordan Rossiter type of thing, which that's fine, that happens in football, do you know what I mean? I say I just wanted to move on and just go and play for a massive club like Glasgow Rangers and go and prove myself up there.
There are other options on the table at this point, because you are still, you know, you're only a year ago you talked about as, you know, one of the best players in the country, bursting on the scene. You know, as we've seen, club legends and, you know, a lot of big people in the game are putting your name out there.
Yeah.
If people know that you're on a contract where you can go for next to nothing,
yeah.
Are you getting offers from, you know, different parts of the world? And
yeah, I say there was quite a few clubs too. Obviously there was a few in Spain, a few in Italy at the time, because obviously, as you've said, obviously at the time I had a bit of a good reputation type of thing, so there was a few in Italy, and then
did that have a temperature?
There was a few down south. I don't think they could understand the Scouse Spanish, so I thought I'll give it a miss.
Down south or in Italy?
Yeah, both I think the Glaswegians were more suited to it. No, but I say I was thinking a few things, and then I remember like Rangers sent me obviously a video, and I was just like that just seems a bit of me. That like I'm all over that. So it was like a video, like just obviously I'll be honest, like obviously Rangers is an unbelievable massively club, but when I've been growing up from like the age of like 11 to 18, Rangers were obviously in the lower leagues, so I didn't see how good they were type of thing. Obviously I remember years ago when you were in like the UEFA Cup final and all that, obviously I remember all that, but obviously a big part of me growing up in football, when I was actually starting to like watch other leagues, watch the Scottish League, like Rangers were always in the lower league, so I didn't really see it as much as what you would do now. But obviously they sent me a video, and then I was like, that's just like a bit of a like, just not like I don't know what to say, like not like an inspirational one, but like me to just want to go and join them type of thing, and just like that seems a bit of me.
Club, you're going from Liverpool where you're feeling a bit undervalued, and you get a massive club like Rangers that are, you know, they're going out their way to do everything they can to bring you over. Is that a big pulling point that, you know, you're a young lad but you go in there, you know, you go in there to sign as a key player at such a young age?
Definitely, I say the manager wanted me to go there and obviously be the holding midfielder and play near enough every game I could, or obviously if I was in good form, obviously, or not good form, obviously I wouldn't play, but he wanted me to start the season as his number 6 or number 4 as they say these days, so I was delighted, to be honest with you. I couldn't wait to get going.
So it's a fresh start for you, exciting start, new club, big club, 5-year deal, which is massive. I'm not going to ask you numbers, but presumably relatively well paid. Everything is looking great. And then in August 2016, you pick up an injury.
Yeah.
How much did it hurt that your fresh start really quickly had a difficult patch for you?
Yeah, it was tough to take, because at the time I was flying. I think I started the first 4 or 5 games, and I think we were a point ahead of Celtic, maybe going into the international break, or a point behind, or we were in and around it. So and obviously the next game after the international break, when I picked up the injury, would have been a Celtic game, obviously at Carragher. So obviously went away on internationals, England under 20s, and I picked up the calf injury and was devastated, because I knew something never felt right, and obviously I come back and it was a calf injury. So I was really disappointed, to be honest with you, because I was loving life up there. Obviously I was in a new city, I was 19, I was obviously going around visiting different places in Glasgow, like obviously it was the first time I ever lived on my own, you know what I mean, like life was really good, and obviously it hit you, like I'm injured, and then I was like, I've been through this before type of thing, but as I say, this is all new to me as well, so I need to get back soon. And the fans were really good to me, to be fair. Rangers said they really good to me up there, to be honest with you. Like, ever see me in the street and all that, they was always, when I first went, they were always asking questions, how are you enjoying it, how are you liking it, and things like that. So that was probably the toughest injury probably to take, I would say. Yeah.
I think another thing people don't realise is, you know, a lot of people in England look down at Scottish football.
Yeah.
You said yourself you didn't realise how big a club Rangers was. Yeah. And I know a lot of lads that have gone up there and played for Rangers and have said the same thing, but you go from, you know, you could play for a London team and go into central London and you could go relatively unnoticed.
Yeah.
You play for Celtic or Rangers in Glasgow, you're a celebrity.
Yeah.
And, you know, everywhere you go, people are coming up to you saying, when are you going to be fit?
Yeah.
Asking you questions. As good as they were, did sometimes maybe, you know, you might have just stayed in your flat for that reason, because if you go out and you go into town, you know, people are going to recognise you.
Yeah. No, definitely. As I said, as good as as good as the people were, like they're very similar to Scousers, so they'll be like, how's your injury? Like, they'll probably give you a little bit of stick, like, you're not fit, yeah, what's going on type of thing, which is obviously just the way they are and they mean well, but it's when you get that. Obviously, I've already, say for example, I go on a walk to the city centre at the time, obviously early on in my Rangers career was obviously quite noticeable, so you'll get that off 6 different people in the one trip to town. It's all right the one, but when they say it, they don't realise like 7 or 8 people have already said it, but that's just the way it was, I say.
But you know, because football is their hobby, but it's your job, and I don't think it occurs to your average football fan, obviously I can talk as a football fan, that it is like going up to someone and saying, your job's not going very well. When's that going to get better? And you know, if you get that every day, it's difficult to escape from. And just another example, I know you know this one, Geordie. So, some guy, I presume he thought he was funny, he set up a Twitter account. It's @Rossiter injured, and the title is Jordan Rossiter injured ? And the punchline, as it were, is the answer is yes every time he tweets. And he got bored of it quite quickly. That's pretty hurtful stuff, and the way you talk, you're so matter-of-fact about things, which is a credit to you, I guess, but it would be fair and acceptable for you to say it hurt, because I think you said about the injury, but it was disappointing. I think you understate it. I mean, that would hurt me a lot. I'd resent the guy that had set up that Twitter account if I were you. Did you feel that way?
No, I think I feel like that way because I was in such a privileged position, do you know what I mean? That's just the way I look at it. I was in a privileged position. I was playing for Rangers Football Club. Like, there's a lot worse things happening in life than some fella from who I've probably never met, probably never will meet. He's probably from Glasgow, just lives a normal life, just being bored one day, and he's made that. Obviously, it might affect some people, but there's a lot worse things going on in life than someone making a daft Twitter account, you know what I mean?
If you can have that mentality, and it's something I'd encourage any footballer. You got these tweets from Robbie Fowler and Jamie Carragher and didn't get carried away with them. I think a lot of people, when they start out and they're in your position, they can, you know, find themselves getting, you know, taking these opinions and getting carried away with them. And then as soon as it flips the other way, they're still looking for these opinions, and I think you get to a stage where, as long as you know these people's opinion doesn't matter. Whether it's good, bad, whatever they say online, you can take it with a pinch of salt. I think as long as you've got, you know, people at the club and your family and things like that, that's the mentality, and I can see that you've got it, but that's the mentality. If you don't get carried away with the good stuff, you're not going to let the bad stuff.
Exactly, it's a good way of putting it, that really good way of putting it.
As time went on, there was a change in management. We talk about luck and new managers coming in. From people who were not close and around you, who saw that Steven Gerrard became the new Rangers manager, they would think, perfect. This is absolutely perfect. You know, the mentor with his protege, you know, the young kid who was supposed to be the next Steven Gerrard, and here is the real Steven Gerrard to guide him through. I guess that wasn't really the case, because actually Steven's presence at Liverpool, his legend at Liverpool, and the comparison to him didn't help you. And I guess history is now showing that him turning up at Rangers didn't necessarily help you. I mean, how did it go working with Steven?
Yeah, no, as I said, it was absolutely brilliant. Obviously, when I heard the news, I was delighted. Obviously, everyone was saying, "Oh, it's like flying there, like happy days and that, lad. Like you'll be signed there." And I was like, "Oh no, like I can't wait to work under him." Obviously, I worked under him obviously worked alongside him as a player, looked up to him as a player, and he was great round the dressing room. Obviously, every day on the football pitch, obviously in training, he was just on it every single day, and I learned a lot from someone like that, you know what I mean? And I still did when he was the manager. But obviously, it's just the same story again. It's got off to an absolute flyer under him. He went in pre-season and all that, and come on, day before the first pre-season game, my ankle again, so just a bit of a mad collision, like just the stupidest collision you've probably ever seen on a football pitch, and obviously I come out of it with another rolled ankle type of thing, so that's no surgery this time, but 5 or 6 weeks out. So I missed out on 5 or 6 weeks right at the start of his Rangers tenure, and then I'm playing catch-up type of thing. So
what was your face-to-face relationship with him?
I say, well, obviously it changes from when he's a player. So obviously I was as a teammate, or like, I was a young lad training with him. I wouldn't say I was a teammate of his, but it changes obviously because he's your manager. Say you always have a different relationships with every manager, and obviously it depends what. See, it's his it was his first year of management, so he probably didn't know how to like act and things like that. But so I wouldn't say we never had like a bad relationship or anything. But yeah, I think I wouldn't say he didn't want to not favour us, because I think if I was fit at the time, he would have played me. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, I just weren't fit, lost the momentum. A few people come in front of me type of thing, and say yeah, that first season just never really clawed it back type of thing.
A loan came in the next season. In fact, 2 loans came, which is bringing us up towards the present day. I mean, was that to get games under your belt, because you hadn't had a run?
Yeah.
No matter what level it was.
Yeah.
You hadn't had a loan when you were at Liverpool. You'd had fits and starts of getting in and around the first team. So Berry came calling in January 2019. How did that come about? Were you pushing to get out on loan?
Yeah. So as I said, I think I come on the Boxing Day game against Hibs at home. I think we had to do 1-1, so I played half an hour in that, and then I thought like 20 minutes or whatever it was, and I thought, I felt good there in my first game in a while and building fitness, like I felt good. And then it come to the game on, we played the Old Firm game, was the New Year's Eve, so that was Boxing Day, then we had another game New Year's Eve. I'm thinking, I can't wait to be involved in like the Celtic game type of thing. And then I just went on the bench, so I was like, obviously I knew I wasn't going to start the game, and thought I was going to be on the bench, and then I went on the bench, so then I was like, well, that says it all type of thing. Like, I think a lot of people, for them months under, obviously Gerrard time, thought I was still injured, but I weren't. I just weren't given a run of games, but maybe other players were getting to show what they can do type of thing, and I just never got that, which is fine, fair enough. Just let me go and play somewhere else. And obviously, I was going on, I was frustrated. I ended up going to the gym, and my mind was I just wanted to get out and play. And then obviously the Berry one come up and say, there's only one place I was going, do you know what I mean? Obviously spoke to Ryan Lowe at the time, and Steve Schumacher, and yeah, that's where I wanted to go. And
you had 18 months left on your deal at Rangers, so was there a conversation with Gerrard, and was it in your head to, you know, I've got 18 months left, let me go on loan for the end of this season. Yeah. I've got a year to come back at Rangers and I want to be playing. Is that how you saw it? Did you still see a future at Rangers?
100%, as I said. Obviously, I didn't have no conversations with anyone obviously up there before. Obviously, I went to Berry, so I didn't know. But in my head, I was thinking, go and play for 6 months, go and prove I can go and play and be robust and play 20 games on the bounce and knock them out and play well. And then pre-season comes, I'll be fit, flying, work hard over the summer and just have a proper right go, obviously in pre-season, but obviously I managed to do that, so I feel like I had a really good loan spell at Berry, obviously got promoted, but obviously unfortunately I just never ever got the chance to go back up the last year, the last 12 months of my contract, and never got the chance to obviously be involved with them.
You know, Pete, you'd have had a lot of people from the outside know that you didn't pay attention to it, but they'd have been going, Jordan Rossiter in League 2, what's happened there? And what was your mentality like at this stage? And what were the differences between, you know, going from the top flight to, you know, League 2 in England?
And I remember turning up and the pitch was like half frozen. And obviously at the Berry's ground, the Gig Lane, and I was like, oh, this is going to get cold off here. I was gutted, and then we ended up playing. It was a bit like Bambi on ice on the far corner, but no, I loved it. It just suited me down to the ground, especially the way Berry play, especially the way Ryan Lowe and Steve Schumacher like to play. They like to get the ball down, they like to play out from the back, and they wanted me to be that number 6 and they just give me the platform to go and play, and I appreciate that so much, and I mightn't be where I am today, obviously, if it weren't for them giving me the opportunity to show everyone what I can do type of thing.
You know, so you go back, you know, you've had this, you couldn't have done any more in the loan spell. You've proved your fitness, you've got promoted, you've shown that, you know, you're willing to get your hands dirty and drop to whatever it takes to prove yourself at Rangers. So did you get any feedback after your loan spell, and when you go back to pre-season, are you now in a position to challenge and be involved?
Well, obviously I thought that was the case. Obviously I wanted to go back and prove to them that, you know, I'm here and I'm in my last year of my contract, but I want to prove to you what you can do. And then I just remember getting a text off the receptionist or the lady who sorted stuff out, Katie her name was, and I just got told I was back in 23rd of June. So I was like, oh, that's mad. I was speaking to John Flanagan, he's back in the 16th, and I was like, bit of a strange one, that. And then I sat down and I was like, text Flanagan, I was like, hey, you're definitely back in the 16th? And he was like, yeah, I'm going up like the weekend type of thing, just sort stuff out, and then, the Monday following. So they were going away to Portugal pre-season. So I was like, well, why am I, shouldn't I be on the pre? And then it clicked, then obviously they're just telling me to go back with the kids type of thing.
I think clubs underestimate the, you know, I know you're a tough lad, but the mental impact, you know, you're seeing your mates go away and you find out you're not and you're not part of the team. No matter how tough you are and how resilient you are, it's going to hurt, and it's going to hurt your pride.
Yeah, I think definitely it made it a lot worse because I've just dealt with, like, obviously Ryan Lowe and Stephen Schumacher who were brilliant with me. Like, they were just great with me, do you know what I mean? So I was going, like, they made me feel a part of it, and I felt a part of the Bury lads, and obviously everything was going on with Bury at the time, and obviously it's sad to see what's happened to them now, but it was just a fantastic place to go into work and go and play your trade and get better and learn and obviously get promoted, and then to go from that to then thinking you're going to go and have a crack at pre-season, which it was just a little bit tough. It was tough to take, obviously, just to get the text and obviously realise, but and then I just switched and I was like, right, where's next type of thing? I've still got a year left, but like I say, I don't know. I'm not like that. I don't hold no grudges at all.
There's quite a nice bit of synchronicity that comes. So from the outside world, people would look and say Steven Gerrard should be Jordan Rossiter's mentor. He's the Scouser, the Reds captain, the Reds protege should be following. But it's an Evertonian who actually becomes your Scouts mentor, and that's one of your teammates at Rangers, Joey Barton. Yeah. He comes calling in the summer. He's your knight in shining armour, and you joined Fleetwood Town in July 2019. Yeah. And you have one hell of a start there. I mean, we talk about how talented you are, and when you get a run in teams, you show that. And actually, I'm going to go straight to the fact you ended up getting injured after about 15 games, because there's a wonderful quote from Joey Barton at that point where he says, "We want him to stay with us. He's been a fantastic addition. If you stop the season now and ask the fans for a player of the year, you would have put Geordie in that space." It's an excellent example of man management, of publicly supporting that player, and also keeping you at Fleetwood Town. So what happened after that is you stayed around as an injured player. You weren't sent back to Rangers to be that problem. You stayed around. We're seeing you now in July. You went to watch those lads unfortunately fall on nearly at the last hurdle in the semi-finals. You were part of that team. Yeah. And now, when this goes out, everyone will know this, but you've just signed a contract to stay with Fleetwood permanently. I mean, how important was all of what I've just described? Yeah, no, I say it was a massive part of my career, obviously where I was going to go next. Obviously I knew it was in the last year of my contract, so it was a really massive season for me. I had to get off to a good start, and obviously when I was training with the young lads at Rangers, obviously Betty was still kind of like, obviously they were there, do you know what I mean, at the time, and obviously Ryan was saying, "You're coming back," and I was like, I'd love to, like I say, I'd love to have a crack in League One type of thing, and obviously things happened with them, but then obviously Joey come call and give me a bell and all that, and I knew what a great person he is. Obviously off my time at Rangers with him, he was my roommate for a few times, saying I absolutely loved being in this company when I was at Rangers, so I was like, and what a top player he was as well, even in training. So I would say when he come call and spoke to him, and I was like, yeah, Fleetwood sounds a bit of me, like what they're doing there, but like their culture, what they've got, like, so obviously Eddie Geno, Andy Mangan, obviously Clint Hill, Joey Barton, like they just had a great team there, and it was we were always going to do well this year. Obviously, unfortunately, we fell at, obviously you said the final later, the last little hurdle, the semi-finals of the playoffs, but it was a fantastic season, and there was no surprise we were going to do well. So we're looking forward to next season, looking ahead. Obviously, you had a bad injury, it was ACL, which is, to have one ACL is unfortunate. To have all the injuries you've had to endure is so hard for you. But you're now in a position where you're getting fit over the summer. You've got a manager that's got faith in you. You've got a club that's going places. I mean, tell me how your future looks.
Oh, I said, obviously I'm delighted. Obviously, Joey, obviously the gaffer there at Fleetwood, he's been absolutely superb, and so was everyone else there. Like, obviously, they could have just said when I done this 23rd of November against Tsunami, like go back up the road, do your rehab there, obviously you're not our player, but they actually said, no, we want you here, we want you around the place, you know what I mean? And obviously at this moment now, obviously I'm not fully fit, but they've still offered me a contract. Like, that's just the faith they've got in me, and obviously I can't thank them enough for what they've done for me, and in my mind now, it's just about me repaying their faith, what they've showed in me. Like, that's all I want to do, do you know what I mean? I want to get, there was a few other clubs who were interested, like obviously in this window, but there was only one place I was going, and it was obviously if Fleetwood were going to offer contract, I was going to sign there, because everyone to a man, they've been brilliant, players, staff, top to bottom. As I said, I can't thank them enough.
To learn all that you've done and been through all that you've done, loads of highs, loads of lows, and you're only 23. You've got years and years left in the game, and the main thing you've obviously needed is a run of games. You're going to get that in League One next year. And I've got full faith that if you can stay injury free and learn from everything all these different experiences, that you've got so much time to get back to the top. And is that what's going through your head at the minute? Yeah, no, I wouldn't change none of anything what's happened so far in my career. Like, I think everybody's career path's different, as I said. Like, obviously I've just had I've had a lot of injuries, but I feel like I'm past that now. Obviously I know I've done my knee, and obviously there was a serious injury, but I just feel like I'm through the back of that now. Like, I've had the tough times, like it's time for me to kick on and try and make me way back to the top. And I say, if someone like the likes of Rodgers and obviously Joey Barton and Ryan Lowe, like they've got faith in you, then there's no reason why I can't get back there, do you know what I mean? So no, the future's it's looking positive, but I say, looking back now, I wouldn't change anything what's happened so far in my career, because I wouldn't be the person I am today type of thing, do you know what I mean, if it would have been any different. So no, I'm grateful for everything what's happened so far, and said, who knows what the next 10-15 years bring.
Brilliant. Well,
yeah, it's good.
We absolutely hope that you do make that.
No, cheers,
we
thanks.
Have faith in you. Thank you so much for telling us your story.
Good. No, I enjoyed it. I really enjoyed that.
Amazing. Thanks for listening to this episode of Football Journeys, and thank you to all those who supported us. Do come and find us on social media at JourneysPod on both Twitter and Instagram, where we'll be sharing more content. If you want to get in touch with us, you can email us on footballjourneys@b5consultancy.com or visit our webpage, b5consultancy.com/footballjourneys.
This podcast is produced by B5 Consultancy alongside Ricky Valentine, who himself had an academy journey with me at Brentford FC. Special thanks goes to the Hope Street Hotel for their hospitality and Liverpool FC for supplying some of their archive footage.
Lastly, thanks to the lads for telling their stories, and to the contributors who gave up their time to share their memories of the lads. Please do like and subscribe. If you feel we deserve a 5-star rating, then please give us one. The more successful this podcast is, the better chance we have of producing more episodes and further series.